Hello there, my name's Andy, this is BER Garage, and this is the channel where we bring you projects that probably should have gone to the scrapyard. Okay, so as I said in the intro, we're going to be working on the MX-5 1.8 variable valve timing engine that is going in the Ford Cortina. So first things first is the rocker cover. We're going to take it off, strip it down and give it a good clean. I'm painting it wrinkle red to give it that good effect to make it look nice and clean. We're going to be painting the head with some VHT silver to make it look nice, fresh and new again. We're going to remove the exhaust manifold and wrap that with high temperature wrap. We're then going to move on and sort out the engine mounts that I've made for the Cortina. Take the inlet off, wrinkle black the inlet, and then fit the new loom that we've got from Motorsport Electronics.
So here my first job is to remove all the bolts that hold on the engine covers. And I don't know why it's been so difficult.
So if we have a look in there, we can see, if I just get a torch, there is full of gunk. So next off is the exhaust. So we'll whip the bolts off for that quickly and then we'll have a better look at the mounts afterwards.
So here you can see me removing 9 12mm bolts that hold on the exhaust manifold. And now we're going to move on to the engine mount. It's just held on by 4 bolts, which we quickly remove. So after removing the engine mount, we're moving on to this bracket. This is a power steering bracket and won't be needed in the Cortina as we don't have any power steering.
First things first, we strip the mount off. So yes, as you can see, not very well finished, very thin metal, very shoddy welds. Once again, it was just to get it temporarily done. That's really bad. I need to weld them up a bit better. But yeah, so new mounts. Well, I'll be strengthening up these mounts, cutting out the old metal that's very weak, very thin, and then we will be going on to a much more durable and solid mount, sort of like this one. So as you can see, there's much thicker metal. Once again, I will be cutting this down and re-welding and things like that, but much better than this one. You know, that's only what, 2 mil, something like that. That's 4, so thicker the metal, stronger the welds, better the mounts. When it does have a turbo, there will be a bit more power, and I need that to be transmitted quite well and to be sort of nice and solid, because these bushes, good quality stuff. I was going to use E34 mounts initially, because they used to be like the godsend in the E36 world, but they were offset slightly and that didn't work for the Cortina, so it would have worked on this end, so I could have offset it to the centre, but they were too deep. So sadly, this is what we ended up with, and it's worked well. So yeah, still need to do some work, but good for the time being. Back to it. So next up will be the inlet manifold. So these 2 bolts here, and then countless bolts along the top here. So we will get that ready and crack on. Obviously from the back of the block to the oil cooler, to the oil filter I guess, and then the cooling housing is behind it. And then they run across and up to the inlet manifold. We are getting rid of a lot of this. A lot of this we don't need. The injector fuel rail, that's coming off. All these sort of recirculating system. So for the 1.8 variable valve timing, it only has 1 feed on this type of engine. So that is 1 feed that goes to the fuel rail, and it works off a recirculating system on the fuel filter. It builds up 3 bar of pressure, and then anything else gets recirculated from the fuel filter back. So we've changed a few bits there, but essentially it's running, the Cortina tank has been modified to run a MX5 fuel sender unit, and that will run up and that will feed the injector rail as normal. So totally normal, it will run as it's meant to. However, the injector wiring, that can come out. The wiring for the NOx sensors, that can come out, because the Motorsport electronic loom is already done. It's already terminated and it's ready just to go straight on. So that's the plan. I'll just quickly show you the manifold. So the manifold here, plan is for it to go wrinkle black all across the manifold, and then we're going to get rid of these brackets. We're going to get rid of anything unnecessary, clean out as water jackets, potentially a bigger throttle body, but I'm not sure just as of yet. We'll get it running first. And then any unnecessary bracketry, any unnecessary vent pipes. The rocker, I'm considering getting some AN3 fittings for the non-recirc valve, and running some AN3 fittings so we can cut down on the vacuum hoses. And then obviously the blocks can get painted. Gonna clean up these, clean up the block, paint that, sort this alternator out, that's coming off, clean that up. This bracket here, I'll whip it off to clean up the block, and then we move on. So as you can see, just in here, there is 2 bolts, one either side for the thermostat. You can just about see them, so they're just there. So we need to get to them 2 bolts to change the thermostat housing, and it's such a lot of work to change one housing. Essentially the housing, I want to switch to the earlier 1.6 versions where they don't come off on a horizontal angle, they come off more to the side, just so that the because the length of the nose here is too much. It's a bit less on the 1.6. So this is too much and it will strike the radiator. I've got a custom made radiator for the Cortina, but essentially the plan is to cut that down with the new one. I was initially going to weld an AN16 fitting to the end, and then just have some AN hoses with some 90 degrees, but why not change it all? You know, if I'm going to strip the engine down anyway, I might as well change it. So I bought a new one for about £60. It's quite expensive, but I'll swap that over. We'll get a new water pump, new cam belt, new guides, and we'll get that together, and then this engine will be good to go then, and there shouldn't be anything needed. Alternator needs a clean really, because it's a bit grotty, and then we'll go through the loom. Nice, lovely alternator. So this one has the feed for the 2 wires. Tells it when to charge. So as you can see here, I'm really struggling to get the fuel clip off. The video doesn't really do any justice, but it's been around 5 minutes and I'm making a right mess of it. This side's done, so we'll just have to strip it down and go from there. So yeah, we're going to leave this episode here, and on the next episode we'll be painting the block. Once the block is painted, we will then move on to some of the ancillaries, and once they're completed, we'll then move on to reassembly. So thank you for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe if you can, and that'd be great. Goodbye.